everyone, this is Michelle and welcome to our Tuesday Live. It's been on my heart for a while now to talk about loss and to share with you 6 supportive tools, vibrations that you can choose to support you through loss. And we are going through loss, and for many of us, we have lost loved ones. Perhaps maybe your loss is of a different kind. You've lost a job. Perhaps maybe you feel that you've lost your comfort. You've lost normality. You've lost everything because things are not how it always was, and it feels like the rug has been pulled from under your feet. And when you have that feeling, that is loss, because it feels like you're just losing out, or you're losing everything, or you're losing opportunities, or you're losing life. And it's really been on my heart, and I want to share with you this evening guidelines to support you through that feeling of loss. When it comes to loss and grieving, experience grief, the first thing that we sometimes hear and that you may have heard before is acceptance is the first step to healing. And it does make sense, because the minute that we are in acceptance, it means that there's less resistance. So we're not holding on so tight anymore. It feels as if even our physical body just relaxes a little bit more. And when we're out of resistance, then we are opening ourselves up to healing. What I want to share with you this evening is that acceptance, if you're struggling to move into acceptance, acceptance by no means says that you now have to say or acknowledge what has happened is okay. So acceptance means I'm okay now with this loss. That's not what acceptance is. The vibration of acceptance for me means rest in it. You may not be okay with it. You may be a little bit okay with it now. You maybe have started to perhaps to see a glimpse of a possible gift through this situation. But by no means does acceptance say it's okay. Acceptance means, why don't you rest in it a little bit? Why don't you rest in it? And this rest, we are talking about thoughts. Rest your thoughts. We are talking about rest the struggle. We are talking about rest in it for a while, because maybe you feel too tired now to continue. So acceptance says rest where you are at. Rest. Receive rest. Rest a little bit. And when you feel that you're fighting so hard to understand something, that you're fighting so hard to heal, that you're fighting so hard to move a little step further, acceptance says rest. So when you are struggling to move into acceptance, move that vibration into rest in it. For now, I'm resting in it. I'm just resting. There's nothing for me to decide. There's nothing for me to heal from. There's nothing for me to move forward. There's nothing for me to think about what the next step is. For now, I'm resting in it. That is the vibration of acceptance, because then you can allow your physical body to rest. You can allow your mental body to rest. You can allow your emotional body to rest. And you can allow your spirit body to guide you, because you are in resting mode. Do you know that when we are resting, we are really receiving? Yes? So resting in it is receiving. And receiving means that I am allowing the healing of spirit. I'm allowing my soul and my higher self to speak, to take over a little bit. So that is the first step that can possibly help you. For many of us, we will be at different stages of loss. So some of the supportive tools that we might discuss in this evening, you've already mastered and you're ready for the next step. Some of them might help you just for this evening. Some of it might help you at another day when you decide to tune in and listen to the repeat. So welcome this evening as we're just sharing a little bit. Hello Yvette, thank you. Hello Celia, Mom, Yolanda, I really hope that you can find some love and vibration and energy and peace through this live tonight. Hello my mom, hello Natasha, hello Brian, thank you so much for being here. It is an important week for us to be motivated, to regain our focus, to move into that space of communication and rekindling friendships. It is also a time for heart healing. And sometimes when we have just experienced loss, or we're still struggling to cope with loss, or we're still grieving, or we're still in fear because we see it around us all the time, it's hard sometimes, isn't it? It's hard to listen to messages of motivation and find your focus when in your heart you feel, even at a loss for words, you don't really know how you're going to get up tomorrow morning, let alone focus. Join in the conversation if this resonates with you. A second tool, vibration, that you can tap into is time. Now, I know you may have heard the saying, time heals all wounds. And you may have heard and experienced that when you give something time, then it's always a good thing, And you also have heard that there's no time to really heal from loss. There's no time for the grieving process to end. There's no specific time in the future where you have to feel better and where you have to move forward. There is no time. We also know that the universe doesn't work on time. It doesn't work on days and months and years. It works on circumstances, and allowing ourselves to move and learn through circumstances and receive what we need to receive, and dealing with things in a different way than we had before, and so we journey on. So I want to suggest to you to, instead of using the word time because it is making you nervous, time creates an expectation of something that has to be fixed at a certain time in the future. And because we measure it by time, we think that by now I should have, or by now I should feel differently. Why am I still feeling this way after all this time? Why haven't I gotten over it yet? And we have these conversations, and we measure our vibration and our heart healing by using time. And so I want to suggest to you that you replace time with the vibration of space. Because space is just that. It's no beginning, there's no end, it's vast. And when we have space, we feel we can breathe. When we have space, we feel that nothing is chasing us, or nothing is forced upon us, or we don't feel claustrophobic and in resistance. We feel spacious, we feel expanded. And isn't it what we need to heal from loss? Is space. Because space gives us an opportunity to listen. Space gives us an opportunity to pause. Space gives us an opportunity to process and introspect without feeling that sense of urgency to compare against something that someone else suggested that worked for them. And because we are not measuring up in terms where we are with our loss, we feel restricted. And then we feel even worse. And then we do not allow ourselves the space, the reflection, the pause, the introspection to receive what we need to receive while we are gathering our thoughts, our rest, our wisdom, our guidance. So we do see that we need this space to allow us to move closer to our acceptance, which means rest in it. So the two really go hand in hand. You cannot be hasty in rest, because then you will not rest. You cannot give this rest in it, this acceptance, the limiting energy of time, because then you might miss an important aspect of what you needed to receive when it comes to the healing of your heart. So the first tool, we spoke about acceptance and viewing and receiving it as resting in it. The second tool was to take the limiting energy of time and expanding on it by giving yourself space and pause and reflection period to listen. Because when we are on pause, that is when we truly listen. Because we're not trying to figure out the end result. And talking about the end result, detach from the outcome. Detach from any expectation that you placed on yourself or upon another as to how you should heal or how they should heal. We all are at different stages in our journey, And we all had a soul contract with that precious soul whom we've lost. And all our contracts are different. And we can talk about losing a loved one. And we can also talk about losing a job, losing our home, feeling loss. So we know that there is a reason behind everything. And it's okay if you can't see it yet. So release yourself as well from the expectations that you hold yourself to receive the blessing, receive the miracle, receive the understanding by a certain time, but also when you're not ready for it yet. A lot we can say here about the energy of comparison. So we have to allow ourselves and those around us who are grieving, who are experiencing the loss, their own journeys to work through their own healing whispers, I call it. Because our healing whispers are what we need to hear when everybody is quiet, when there's no pressure on myself to feel in a certain way by a certain time, when there's no pressure on myself to have fixed the situation by a certain time. That is when you receive the healing whispers. And you know healing whispers come when you least expect it. When you least expect it, and when you're out of the way, when you're in that I surrender mode, then the whispers fall into your heart, and your heart is loud like the ocean, and you hear it because your mind is out of the way. So don't compare or hold expectations as to the end result of dealing or having overcome or even having learned from loss. The fourth one that I received in preparation for this evening was the word memories. And I know, and I even use the words often myself, like, what are the gifts that you receive from a certain journey? What are the blessings that you receive from a certain turning point in your life? What are the gifts that you receive, from the journey with your loved one, or that specific event that occurred which caused you to lose so much, no matter what it is for you while you're listening now? Memories is a vibration that shares, I remember the good times. I remember the special events. I remember the sharing, the laughter. I remember those deep conversations. I remember the impact. I remember the why. And that why might very well be why you were in my life, why you were gifted to me. Why were you in my life for a short time or for a long time? And of late in a lot of sessions, we even have the question, why were you not in my life? So sometimes the memories can be attached to a vibration of regret, to a vibration of anger, to a vibration of resentment. Most of the time we are blessed as the memories are linked to vibrations of laughter and love and joy. But when we allow the memories to come completely as they are, without the judgment, and we remember and we recall and we hold the memories, then suddenly the gift appears. And the same goes for the memories of anger and the memories of resentment and the memories of why weren't you in my life, and it comes, and then all of a sudden it's like the gift. Because even through that there are gifts. Because in some ways it shaped your life. It shaped your soul. It shaped your spirit. It shaped your mind. It shaped your emotions. And you are standing at the door of a new opportunity because of this. And you are standing perhaps at the door of a new beginning. You're standing at the door of an incredible insight that's going to change your life forever. Perhaps you're standing at the door of just being so grateful for the immense love you had the opportunity to experience. So can you see, we are all different and we have all very different journeys. Have the memories you have so that you can recognize the gift in your life now as a result of that journey. There is always a gift in a memory, isn't there? And you know what? When that memory causes us regret, and that regret stings a little bit, remember that yes, it may hurt a little bit, but you have an opportunity to, from here on in, make the choices differently and to walk forward with love and forgiveness and healing in your heart, because had it not been for this situation, you wouldn't have experienced regret. And you wouldn't want anybody else in your space and in your circle to be on the receiving end of that. Memories can be beautiful healers for us. 2 more. So we've had rest in it. We've had pause, reflection, space. We've had no expectations, remove the expectations or predicting the outcome. And we've had memories. The 5th one, I overheard a conversation where this friend was relaying that he lost his friend recently. And his friend said that before he dies, he really wants to know what his purpose is. But he never had the opportunity to find out because he passed away before he had the opportunity to know his purpose, or whether he ever found out what it was. And so the conversation then went to, are we telling the people in our lives what a difference they are making in our lives? Because you see, purpose is not always the big things. Purpose is in another human being that you are helping up. Purpose is in kindness. Purpose is in your smile and making someone's day. Purpose is in you living in such a way that you change a life without even knowing it. Purpose is in being the best that you can be. And so You know how healing it is to recognize another? Do you know how healing it is for both souls to recognize each other? Are we telling the people in our lives that we appreciate them? Are we thanking the people in our lives for making a difference in our lives, for making a contribution in our lives? When we step out in the day to work, or to go to the shop, or to meet a client, or to show up for work, do we have this intention that drives us, that says, I have woken up today to make a difference. I've woken up today to make a difference in people's lives. And whether it's going to be the kindness in my voice, whether it's going to be the friendliness in my voice, whether it's going to be my helpful tone, whether it's going to be my patience, whether it's going to be my smile, whether it's going to be the love in my heart, whether it's going to be seen or unseen, I am stepping out and I am alive to make a difference today. And when you are hurting the most and you give this of yourself, your heart heals, your heart opens up, your ears open up, because you'll hear the whispers of healing in your heart. So let us tell the people in our lives what they mean to us, how we appreciate them. And also, let us go out every day and just make a difference without having to be seen or heard, but just because our heart expands through this action. Our heart just expands with love, and it just gives more love, and then you just receive more love. Like you'll just feel the love and the kindness being returned to you. That's so healing. And then, last but definitely not least, is forgiveness. Do you know that we go through a lot in one day, and sometimes we have, we have grudges, or we have things that anger us, or things that upset us. And in the biggest scheme of things, work with what matters. Hold on to that what matters. Hold on to that what creates love and healing and light in your life, and let go of that which in the biggest scheme of things is not that important to hold on to. I hope that this few powerful tools and vibrational light will assist you when you experience loss. Perhaps maybe when you can help or support someone else who is going through loss. Please share this video. Let us help one another through the period of loss and grief and healing. So if you think this can help someone else, please share it. And I trust that you could take some of this and really receive it in your heart, so that you can hear the whispers of healing this evening.